I would say the biggest thing that happened internally was, but it's having the courage to take imperfect action right away, right? Instead of waiting, because I wanted to take action for years, but I was just in the back of my mind, I'm just like, I'm not ready. I could get more prepared. And I noticed a lot of people are
This
like
is
that.
Deano, your high performance coach, and it's time to level up.
Blessed love and respect, champion. Now, today we're going to be leveling up with Nan Yang. And let me just tell you a little bit about who Nan Yang is before we start the questions rolling. Now, Nan Yang has over 10 years of experience mentoring and counseling students since his undergraduate at UCLA as a peer counselor. After college, she worked as an instructor specifically with college students, and he pursued his master's degree in international education in Shanghai while also working as a college counselor. Nan Yang is also a new, fresh bred entrepreneur and also an amateur boxer. So this young man is a high performer in the making as he's moving towards his level of mastery. Welcome to the Level Up series, Nan. It's really a pleasure to
Thanks for
have
the
you here, man.
introduction, Deano. It's great to be here. It's great to be here. Yeah.
So let me just roll with this first question, just so that we can get to know a bit about you and your journey as a high performer. Tell us about your journey with high performance coaching. How's that been?
Overall, it's been good, great. I would say it started last year, 2021, at the end of August. So I was going to my 6th year at the school I was working for. It's like a bilingual school with the international curriculum. So I was going into my 6th year. It was my 6th year in Shanghai. So, and then, so I guess that's how the journey started. Yeah.
And what would you say was your catalyst that inspired you to work with a high performance coach?
Yeah, so I would
What
just
was
say
that?
rewind a long time later. Long time ago, it's when I was an undergraduate. I like worked pretty hard all throughout my school years and especially in high school. But then when I went to undergrad at UCLA, I kind of found that of course, obviously the environment was very different. The learning styles, the lecture halls were hundreds of people. The professors did not know who you are, and you had a lot of free time. So because of everything, I was kind of getting lost. So it started like there, and then I tried to learn about time management and how to make the most out of my time. So I guess that's how it first started. But more recently, maybe since the first pandemic, right now we're in like another lockdown, but in about 2 years ago, 2020, I actually went back to Los Angeles and I was looking up some videos on productivity, and then a person named Richard Yu came up. So he was actually like also went to UCLA, but he was about 10 years after me, 10 years younger than me, and he was teaching something like this. So I was just watching his YouTube videos, like the day in the life. So, and then I was very interested in that kind of material. So I guess that was my first exposure to high performance.
And it's very interesting. I totally can relate with how you felt, going to a new school and really feeling scattered, because that's a big change in environment. And one thing that I've been learning, whenever we are going through change, there's always this feeling of being scattered and lacking focus. Yeah. So how did coaching help you to, take care of that scatter and refocus things personally? Like what was something that helped?
I think it helped in many areas, but the number one area that it helped was my clarity. Because I feel like for 30 years of my life, I was doing what everyone wanted me to do, especially my family, right? Because we were immigrants to the US. I went there when I was young. My parents were in their 30s. So for them, there was no like entrepreneurship. There was no any other way except that you would get your education, you will get your master's, in their case their PhD, and then you'll find a stable job and work there for 20, 30 years until retirement. So that was the plan that they told me, like through education, through schooling. And up to a certain extent, I would say college is a turning point. I felt like that was no longer what I wanted to do, maybe after college. So that was when I first kind of doubted that route for me, about 10 years ago. So that was what I got most from coaching. And that after I had clarity, that led to other areas to increase, such as accountability, my energy, my productivity, and also I want to say
Mm,
confidence, but I would say courage, right? Because only until you do something or have experience do you
mm,
have confidence. And I was able to see the areas in my life that I had confidence and kind of apply that to what I'm trying to do now.
mm. Wow, amazing, amazing. Wonderfully said. I love that you really dialed in on clarity because, first we really need to become clear about who we are and who we want to
Yeah.
be. So that way, whenever we're setting up
Yeah.
these goals for ourselves, it's goals that, we can embody personally. And let me ask you this, Nan. How are you progressing by yourself without coaching? Like I know you have had coaches
Yeah.
in that basketball realm or as a boxer. But when it comes to that, your life as a whole, how were you progressing
Yeah.
without coaching
It made me think of a
before,
few
without a
things. The
coach?
first
Sorry.
thing, when you were talking about how coaching is so important and how having clarity, these are things that weren't taught in school, right? Because I went to school for about over 12
Mm,
years, and I got my master's eventually. So about 15 years of school, like nearly half my life, I wasn't taught about what I really wanted. School, it
mm,
kind of just taught you how to memorize and how to do well on the tests, and after you get your degree, then you still don't know. So I would say that's one thing. My first experience with coaching was when I was in eighth grade. When my dad found me a basketball coach. I've been playing basketball since I was 5 years old because of my dad. But then after playing it for 7, 8 years, I still
dope.
wasn't able to, develop as how I wanted to. I feel like I try to improve in all areas to become a better basketball player without really
Mm,
reaching my goal. But I think my dad found me a coach that kind of gave me specific advice to me. So that was my first experience with coaching, and some of like the messages he taught me still stay with me to this day. um yeah, so that was my first experience with coaching. And then the high performance is something I'm kind of skeptical with. Anything that I haven't tried, I'm kind of skeptical. So I'm like a person that likes to be in my comfort zone. So
mm,
at first it was basketball, sports, and then I had a coach 2 years ago for boxing, even though I've been boxing for about 7 years before that, and that really took my boxing to the next level. Maybe I learned more in the past 2 years than I did in the last
mm,
5 or 6 years in boxing. Only a lot of that has to deal with the coach and guiding me towards the right direction, and then seeing my blind spots. I feel like that's one of the things that coaching also gave me. Someone that's done it before, and he
mm.
or she could see your blind spots.
Yeah, yeah, powerful. I love
Yeah.
it that you said you're very skeptical because I know that majority of people who are listening have never really
Hmm.
experienced coaching before
Yeah.
and they too are skeptical. Yeah, and for somebody like you, I remember we had a conversation and you said that, you're the kind of
Hmm.
person who would have never invested
Right.
this amount of money in
Yeah.
coaching. Yeah, but you have. Yeah, so I want you to really take me back to that point in time before you made that decision
Hmm.
to hire high performance coach? Like what made that shift for you in your
Yeah.
decision making process? Like why did you make that
Yeah. I feel
investment
like,
personally?
in short, you did. I think you showed through your action, more so than words, because um, I didn't always have
Mm,
good coaches, both in sports and also in this area of like high performance, right? So I had a coaching experience at the beginning of 2021, so about a year and a half ago, and that didn't really go so well. That was 6 months, but I just felt like the coach was a bit detached, right, both from the material presented and from me. So that didn't really work too well. And I would definitely say I'm still skeptical, but I'm not, because I found the right coach in you. So I would just say it just depends on the coach. And then once you trust the coach and the
mm.
coach trusts you, I feel like the possibilities are endless.
Wow, that's a
Yeah.
powerful answer. I'm feeling
Yeah.
that all in my chest, and I must say, I must appreciate,
Mm.
appreciate it, Nan. And this is the perfect question here now. What advice would you give to someone who's listening right now, who is at that crossroad where they're thinking about hiring a coach for themselves? What would be the greatest advice you can give to such a listener?
At a crossroads, right? Are you talking about high performance, or are you talking about a coach in any area? Yeah. Okay.
Well, let's focus on high performance coaching. Most of the
Yeah.
listeners would be looking
Hmm.
to hire a high performance
Yeah. I
coach.
feel like
Yeah.
high performance is one of those things that I think it's still, maybe it's not like a sport or something that everyone knows, right? So maybe someone is still skeptical, or they don't really know what it means. And I didn't really know what it means, right? Now I do, because I experienced it. But if someone's going to tell you in a few sentences, it's still too abstract. So I would just say, before you invest, try to get to know the coach, right? And maybe sometimes a phone call or two is not enough. What I ended up doing is that I joined your high performance leader movement, like the 21-day challenge, and not only once, right? Like I joined that, I think, 3 times. So over the course
Yeah,
of
yeah.
about 3 months. Yeah,
No,
yeah,
no,
it's been six
it's been six
six
times now. It's been 6 times.
but it took me 3 times to invest in the personal coaching, right? About 3 months.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
now I'm
yeah.
still getting value out of that, or else now I'm on
Mm,
my sixth time. But that really showed me through your actions, and through
mm,
individual phone calls, and then through like group work, really what you're about. So
mm.
I would say that. And
Yeah.
I would also say referrals, right? So if like a friend or someone else, whether you know
Mm.
that friend well or not, if they could personally tell you what they got out of it, I think that's also really helpful. That wasn't the case for me, so I had to experience it myself. So that would be my advice.
Yeah, yeah, that's totally great advice. You gotta
Mhm.
actually experience coaching to know if this is the right thing from you. And I think this is a great point to even share this as well. Like,
Yeah.
high performance is not something you have or you
Hmm.
don't have. It's a practice.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why we show up every day, every week, every month,
Hmm.
that we can
Yeah.
consistently shift
Yeah.
gear into becoming a high performing leader. And one the thing that I also like to share that I left in my book is that the secret to high performance is
Hmm.
learning how to become yourself. Yeah,
Yes.
it's not something outside of you. It's more or less the best possible version that you can be in the
Yeah.
shell that we have been given. And let me ask you this, Nan. If we had a time machine and you stepped into that time machine and you could have go back in the past and do things all over again.
Hmm.
So 6 years in the past. Yeah, what
Yeah.
would you do differently?
To add on to the point that you were just saying about, I feel like anyone can benefit from a coach, especially high performance, right? Because it's individual. The concepts are universal, but the way that the coach works with you, it could be tailored towards
Yeah.
yourself. So I feel like anyone can benefit from that, and I truly believe that.
Yeah, yeah.
Unless that person does not want to improve,
Mm.
right? If this person is just comfortable, or maybe he or she has already like a
Yeah.
retirement fund, or
Yeah.
like finances already, and they're happy with their current life, like truly, I would say that maybe
Yeah,
he or
yeah.
she doesn't need it. But I feel like for most people that's not the case. To answer your question,
Mm.
if I were to put myself in a time machine and go back, I would have invested in a coach sooner, for the reason that it would have been given me more clarity of what I wanted, instead of kind of letting like
Mm.
circumstances dictate where my next move is, right? Because from my experience at my job, it's a comfortable job. I liked it. And then, so each year I would renew my contract, but after the second or third year, I felt like the amount of room for improvement was getting less and less. And how I improve myself, I was trying to do things to improve myself, but I wasn't really that sure how. So I feel like a coach would have definitely helped me in gaining the clarity, in terms of guiding me to
Mm.
uh what I wanted to do in the next step. Yes. And then I would just also add to that, it would put my effort into
Mm.
the right places, and it will save me a lot of time. And then because of these two, my general level of happiness would have been higher. Especially, I feel like me and a lot of people around me, they kind of get used to a routine, right? If you ask them, are they happy or are they unhappy? I think most people would just say they're comfortable, right? But I feel like having a sense of direction and a purpose, which coaching has showed me, gave me genuine happiness.
Yeah, I love that you said that. As you were speaking, it makes me dial into the whole idea that sometimes it's so difficult to quantify the ROI on coaching. Yeah, because you're talking about an individual's subjective experience and their life and what they value, and you can't put a dollar price on that. Yeah, and you also talk about being in a comfortable job, just doing the same routine thing over and over, and that could feel really, really draining. And it's hard to come out of that. And it takes a lot of courage to step away from something that is so comfortable and going to somewhere uncertain. But as both of us know, me and you have made a big decision of making that transition personally. What would you say? What we know that you're getting coached, but on the inside, what was happening internally? What changed internally for you to help you make that big decision to transitioning from your normal 9 to 5 to being a full-time entrepreneur?
Blessed love and respect, champion. Now, this is your high performance coach here, and I want to thank you for showing up today. Not for me, but showing up for yourself. Because every episode of this show is designed to help you get one step closer in the direction of becoming an even higher performing leader. Living in and from your fullest potential in whatever you do for those you love and for those that you serve. And we are here to help you every step of the way. Now, if you're listening to this show, I believe it's because you are ready to take your performance to another level. And that is why I've created this show as a program in my high performance leader coaching ecosystem to help you master these high performance habits with accountability, structure, and guidance from me as your coach. And it is free for you today as my listener. Join my high performance leader coaching ecosystem right now. Go to levelupwithdeano.com. Again, go to levelupwithdeano.com. And Deano is spelled Deano. And if you're listening to this in China or you're watching an episode on YouTube, just click the link in the description below. And remember, it is time for you to level up.
I would say the biggest thing that happened internally was having the courage to take imperfect action now. So I would say, that's a combination of several things I learned, several takeaways I learned from individual coaching, and I just combined that. But it's having the courage to take imperfect action right away, right? Instead of waiting, because I wanted to take action for years, but I was just in the back of my mind, I'm just like, I'm not ready. I could get more prepared. And I noticed a lot of people are like that. But a lot of high performers, right? They make the decision quickly and then they go and fix it. So I feel like that's what I learned the most. And, that's an internal change. And it's not, like a switch I could just turn on and off. I'm beginning actively applying that to other areas of my life, even if they're small. So over the past, I would say 6 months, especially, it's been reinforced. I'm not there yet, but at least I'm on the path.
Yeah. Progress over perfection.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I love that you said that you have been applying this act of courage in other small areas of your life. Because many times we think that courage only comes from when you're in the dumps and things are really tough for you to make a big decision. But courage is showing up every day. Showing up for this podcast, having this conversation and being vulnerable, or even taking the courage to have a conversation across the dinner table. So let me ask you this, Nan. What is one question that I haven't asked that you think that everyone needs to know the answer?
Let me just think about that. I think I would just say the question is, find what is one thing that you're good at that other people may find hard, but for you, that it comes naturally and easier for you, and you have fun doing it. So what is that one thing? And then I would just say, the knowledge of that is not enough, which is another thing I learned. You have to apply it. So whatever that strength is, you want to apply it to multiple aspects, right? So for me, I like having conversations with people. I like vulnerability. I like writing, right? So I'm applying that to my job, but I'm also applying that outside of work in different aspects as well, right? Even in seemingly unrelated aspects such as boxing, right? um, it doesn't have to be like a direct relation. I'm sure if you're good at something, you can apply it to multiple aspects of your life, right? Another short answer for that is just, what is your superpower, right? What is something that you easier to you that other people may not? And a lot of times we
Yeah.
take it for granted, right? A lot of time I find that I assume, yeah,
All
all
the
the
time.
time,
I
and
think it's all the time.
it's
Yeah,
taken me
yeah.
a long
Mm,
time to do that. Yeah,
mm.
and it's just not a switch that you could just turn on and off. You have to make it a constant practice as well. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
Bumps, man. Bumps. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What is
What is your superpower? Yeah, and as you're
yeah,
listening to this, yeah, write that down. And maybe you won't know what that is now, but it's a practice. You gotta show up every day asking yourself these questions
yeah,
and engaging with that part of
yeah.
yourself every day. Man, I love it. I love it. And let me just roll with this as well. I know there are listeners, there are few listeners. I
Hmm.
always think that there are three type of people. Yeah, I think there are people who they would just be
Hmm.
on the side of no, the pessimist, and then
Hmm.
there'll be a group of people
Yeah.
who's in limbo. They're unsure whether or not they should take this jump, and then there are the hell yes group
Hmm.
of people who would actually take action, yeah, and move forward. For people who think that investing in a coach is too expensive, what advice would you have for them?
I would say, yeah, because I was there. So I'm just trying to think like I'm still there. But I'm just think like, what is the
Mm,
and, and I didn't think about this, like I didn't come up with this on my own, right? But it made me think of one of the YouTube videos that I was watching. um Shout out to How to Beast. But just, what is the upside and what is the downside, right? So for coaching, it might take you maybe a few $1,000s, right, over the course of a few months or half a year or something like that, right? Is that some, for most people, that's enough to because that's like a month's rent, right? Or maybe you don't go out for a few dinners, or you're thrift, or you save money for that month. But I feel like that's made the biggest impact, and it's not just something that you could just see from YouTube videos, because I was like that too. I'm like, all this information I could find online for free, but I think it's the a connection you find with the coach and the accountability that he or she gives you, and seeing your blind spots, right? Because their information is all out there, but no one's really telling this directly to you, because information applied to different people is
mm,
still kind of different. So it's just like your coach should know what buttons to press. So I feel like it's, try to think about the upside versus the
mm,
downside. Yeah.
mm, mm. Powerful, powerful. And what is one thing that
Yeah.
most people don't know about Nan Yang who's watching? What is one thing most people don't know about you?
Wow, you caught me off guard here. I would say that my biggest superpower is maybe my empathy is one of my superpowers. But then
Hmm.
one of my hobbies is boxing and basketball. It's competition, right? People may not see boxing as violent
Yeah,
sport, but
yeah.
I feel like that's where the magic lies, right? To apply
Mm,
your superpower in like different
mm,
ways, to inspire others, right? Even those in the
yeah.
audience, your opponent, your community. I feel like a community is also important. I think it's this synergy of, I think having a coach is huge, right? But also having a coach exposed me to the right community which exposed me to the right resources, which exposed me to other coaches. So I feel like having those resources and people around you, and the coach is an important aspect of that. I think, that's when everything synergizes. Yeah. Yeah.
Powerful. I just want to say thank you, Nan. Thank you for showing up powerfully, and really thank you for allowing me this opportunity to be your coach. And as we're going through this journey together, I'm really proud of you. I'm proud of the progress that you're making and that you'll continually be making. Yeah, and that is Nan Yang for you, one of our official leaders in the high performance leader movement. And I just want to tell you guys, every day is a day to level up, and that's a wrap.
All right, thank you, Deano.
Blessed love and respect, champion. Now, this is your high performance coach here, and I want to thank you for showing up today. Not for me, but showing up for yourself. Because every episode of this show is designed to help you get one step closer in the direction of becoming an even higher performing leader. Living in and from your fullest potential in whatever you do, for those you love and for those that you serve. And we are here to help you every step of the way. Now, if you're listening to this show, I believe it's because you are ready to take your performance to another level. And that is why I've created this show as a program in my high performance leader coaching ecosystem to help you master these high performance habits with accountability, structure, and guidance from me as your coach. And it is free for you today as my listener. Join my high performance leader coaching ecosystem right now. Go to levelupwithdeano.com. Again, go to levelupwithdeano.com. And Deano is spelled Deano. And if you're listening to this in China or you're watching an episode on YouTube, just click the link in the description below. And remember, it is time for you to level up.